The war in Europe ended in May 1945, and with it the mighty Luftwaffe vanished almost overnight. Across the continent, airfields that once thrummed with activity were now silent. Rows of fighters, bombers, and experimental jets sat abandoned, their engines cold, their pilots gone. Some planes had been left in haste, stripped for parts, or damaged by relentless Allied bombing. Others remained untouched monuments to a force that had ruled the skies for 6 years. In the chaos of surrender, a new contest began, not of bullets and bombs, but of technology, knowledge, and strategic advantage. By the time Germany officially capitulated on May 8th, thousands of aircraft remained scattered across airfields from northern Norway to southern Austria. In places like Flensburg and Lübeck, entire squadrons were left idle. Hangars in Prague held Messerschmitt's Heinkels and prototypes that had never seen combat. At Rechlin, the Luftwaffe's primary testing center, investigators discovered the results of years of advanced research: experimental airframes, wind tunnel models, and technical manuals outlining Germany's progress in jet and rocket propulsion. Allies were stunned. Classic fighters like the Bf-109 and Fw-190 sat beside the revolutionary Me-262 jet, the He-162, and the experimental Arado R-234. Even unfinished designs, like the Junkers Ju-287, hinted at technology far beyond what most of the world had seen. The collapse of command meant that no one was left to maintain order. Pilots and mechanics surrendered to whichever Allied forces appeared, and fuel shortages had immobilized much of the Luftwaffe before the war's final days. Maintenance records, supply depots, and spare parts stores were either destroyed or abandoned. The Allies quickly imposed strict rules. All German aircraft were grounded. No flights were permitted without authorization, and access to advanced prototypes was tightly controlled. The handling of these aircraft became a matter of intelligence and diplomacy, a reflection of the emerging post-war order. Within days, recovery operations were underway. The Americans launched Operation Lusty, Luftwaffe secret technology, sweeping across Germany, Austria, and Czechoslovakia. Colonel Harold Watson led teams to identify, secure, and transport high-value aircraft. At Lechfeld intact, Me-262s were flown out. At Grove Airfield in Denmark, Arado R-234s and other late-war designs were captured. Planes were shipped to Wright Field in Ohio and Freeman Field in Indiana, where engineers and pilots examined their design engines and instruments. Test flights revealed the secrets of jet propulsion, high-speed aerodynamics, and swept-wing technology, laying the foundation for the next generation of aircraft. The British ran a parallel campaign, Operation Surgeon. Their focus extended beyond the machines themselves to the engineers, scientists, and technicians behind them. Teams interviewed personnel, collected blueprints, and transported selected experts to Britain for post-war work. At RAF Farnborough, pilots flew captured jets, studying their performance, while lightweight designs like the He-162 informed future trainers and interceptors. Meanwhile, the Soviets moved quickly to claim factories, airfields, and technical personnel. Production lines in Moravia and the Avia works in Prague were seized with aircraft tooling, and engineers sent east. Me-262s, R-234s, and Bf-109s were studied and incorporated into early Soviet jet programs, even as tensions between the Allies foreshadowed the Cold War. As the months passed, the question of what to do with remaining aircraft became urgent. By late 1945, the Allied Control Council decreed that Germany could retain no military aircraft. Those not already shipped abroad were slated for destruction. Airfields across Germany became vast scrapyards. Fighters, bombers, transports, and prototypes were stripped, crushed, or burned. Some were sunk along the coast. Many still lie on the seafloor, rediscovered decades later. Even aircraft with dual civilian uses like the Junkers Ju-52 were often dismantled, though a few were temporarily used for transport services or training in countries such as France and Czechoslovakia. Economic realities shaped this process. Aluminum and steel from scrapped aircraft fueled reconstruction efforts, supplying industries producing goods and infrastructure across Europe. For local workers, the destruction provided employment during the difficult post-war transition. By 1948, only a handful of Luftwaffe aircraft remained intact, scattered in airfields, warehouses, and private hands. Some planes found a second life. Czechoslovakia assembled the Avia S-199 from captured Bf-109 parts, equipping its fledgling air force. Several of these aircraft were later sold to Israel, forming the nation's first fighter fleet in 1948. Spain produced the Hispano Aviación HA-112, a modified Bf-109, which served into the 1950s and later appeared in films recreating WWII aerial battles. Norway operated captured Bf-109s and R-96 trainers for several years before spare parts ran out. Civil aviation also benefited. The Ju-52 became a passenger transport in France, and early post-war Lufthansa briefly used these sturdy aircraft. By the mid-1950s, West Germany's new Bundesluftwaffe relied entirely on Allied jets such as the F-84 Thunderstreak Canadair Sabre and F-104 Starfighter. Wartime designs were obsolete, left to museums and the memory of history. Restoration efforts in the second half of the 20th century salvaged surviving airframes from crash sites, remote lakes, and buried wrecks, often combining parts from multiple planes to create complete exhibits. Today, Me-262s, Bf-109s, FW-190s, and Arado R-234s are displayed in museums from Berlin to Washington, D.C., while a few replicas continue to fly at air shows. Almost all original wartime Luftwaffe aircraft remain grounded. The surviving aircraft serve as a reminder of both the technological achievements and the rapid disappearance of even the most advanced machines. From the chaos of surrender to international recovery, testing, and destruction, the journey of the Luftwaffe's planes illustrates how war politics and technology intersect, and how the legacy of these aircraft was reshaped by the post-war world. What remains today is only a fraction of the force that once spanned Europe, silent witnesses to history, technology, and ambition.